Section 3. The Purpose of Creation. 3.1. The Purpose of the Creation of the Universe. It is recorded in the Bible that after God completed each day of creation, He saw that it was good. This suggests that God wanted His creation to be object partners embodying goodness that He might take delight in them. How can the creation give God the greatest joy? God created human beings as the final step in creating the universe. He created them in His image, in the likeness of His internal nature and external form, and gave them sensibility to all feelings and emotions because it was His intention to share joy with them. After their creation, God blessed Adam and Eve, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have domination over the fish of the sea, and over birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth." Gen 1:28. These are the three great blessings: to be fruitful, mature and ready to bear fruit, multiply, and have dominion over the creation. Had Adam and Eve obeyed this divine mandate and built the kingdom of heaven, there is no doubt that God would have felt the greatest joy as His sons and daughters rejoiced in the world of His ideal. How can God's three great blessings be fulfilled? They can be realized only when the four-position foundation, which is the fundamental foundation of creation, has been established. The three great blessings are fulfilled when the whole creation, including human beings, completes the four-position foundation with God as a center. This is the kingdom of heaven, where ultimate goodness is realized and God feels the greatest joy. This is, in fact, the very purpose for which God created the universe. The ultimate purpose of the universe, with human beings at its center, is to return joy to God. All entities have dual purposes. As was explained earlier, every entity has dual centers of movement, one of internal nature and another of external form. These centers pursue corresponding purposes for the sake of the whole and for the sake of the individual, whose relationship is the same as that between internal nature and external form. These dual purposes relate to each other as cause and result, internal and external, subject partner and object partner. In God's ideal, there cannot be any individual purpose which does not support the whole purpose, nor can there be any whole purpose that does not guarantee the interests of the individual. The infinite variety of beings in the universe form one vast organic body interwoven with these dual purposes. 3.2. Good object partners for the joy of God. To understand more precisely the issues concerning God's purpose of creation, let us first examine how joy is produced. Joy is not produced by an individual alone. Joy arises when we have an object partner in which our internal nature and external form are reflected and developed. Our object partner helps us to feel our own internal nature and external form through the stimulation it gives. This object partner may be intangible or it may be substantial. For example, an artist's object partner may be an idea in his mind or the finished painting or sculpture which substantiates that idea. When he visualizes his idea or beholds his work, he is stimulated to feel his own internal nature and external form reflected in it and feels joy and satisfaction. When his idea alone is the object partner, it is not as stimulating, nor is the joy it brings as profound as that from a finished work. This nature of human beings originates in God's nature. In like manner, God feels the fullness of joy when He is stimulated by His substantial object partners to feel His original internal nature and original external form through them. It was explained earlier that when the kingdom of heaven is realized through the fulfillment of the three great blessings and the establishment of the four-position foundation, it becomes the good object partner that gives joy to God. Let us investigate how the kingdom becomes God's good object partner. The key to God's first blessing is the perfection of individual character. Individuals' mind and body are discrete projections and object partners, God's dual characteristics. In order for an individual to perfect his character, he must form a four-position foundation within himself, whereby his mind and body become one through give-and-take action with God as their center. Such individuals become the temples of God, achieve complete oneness with Him, and acquire a divine nature. They experience the heart of God as if it were their own. Hence, they understand His will and live fully attuned to it. When a person abides in the state of individual perfection, he lives as the substantial object partner to his mind. Because the center of his mind is God, he also lives as the substantial object partner to God. Both the mind and God rejoice as they experience their internal nature and external form through the stimulation which their object partners give them. Accordingly, when people realize God's first blessing, they become God's beloved, who inspire Him with joy. Sharing all the feelings of God as their own, they would never commit any sinful acts that would cause God grief. This means they would never fall. God's second blessing was to be fulfilled by Adam and Eve after they had achieved individual perfection as object partners to God, each manifesting an aspect of God's dual characteristics. In order to construct the four-position foundation in their family, Adam and Eve should have joined in loving oneness as husband and wife and raised children. This would have been the fulfillment of the second blessing. A family or society that has formed the four-position foundation in line with God's ideal is patterned after the image of a perfect individual. It thus becomes the substantial object partner to the individual who lives in oneness with God, and consequently, it also becomes a substantial object partner to God. The individual feels joy, and likewise God feels joy when each perceives in this family or community the manifestation of his own internal nature and external form. When God's second blessing is fulfilled, this family or community also becomes a good object partner giving joy to God. Before we examine how a person upon attaining the third blessing establishes a good object partner giving joy to God, we must first investigate the relationship between human beings and the creation from the viewpoint of internal nature and external form. Prior to creating human beings, God created the natural world by expressing partial reflections of the internal nature and external form. He had conceived for human beings. Consequently, a human being contains within himself the sum total of the essence of all things. This is the reason he is called the microcosm of the cosmos. When God created living things, He began with creatures of a lower order. Over the course of time, He created animals of a higher order with more complex biological functions, culminating with human beings at the highest level. Therefore, human beings contain all the elements, structures, and qualities found in animals. For example, human vocal cords are so versatile that they can imitate virtually any animal sound. Because the human body contains all the beautiful curves and lines of creation, an artist hones his skills by drawing nude models. Although human beings and plants have different structures and functions, they are similar in that they both are composed of cells. All the elements, structures, and characteristics of plants can be found in human beings. For example, a plant's leaf corresponds to the human lung in appearance and function. As leaves absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, the human lung absorbs oxygen. Branches and stems of plants correspond to the human circulatory system, which distributes nourishment to the entire body. The xylem and phloem correspond to human arteries and veins. The roots of a plant correspond to the human stomach and intestine, which absorb nutrients. Human beings were fashioned from clay, water, and air. Consequently, they contain elements of the mineral kingdom. Moreover, the earth displays a similarity to the structure of the human body, which has skin covered with hair, blood vessels running inside the musculature, and marrow lying deep still within the bones. The meaning of God's third blessing is the perfection of a human being's dominion over the natural world. To fulfill this blessing, the four-position foundation of dominion must be established, centered on God. Human beings and the natural world, which are the substantial object partners to God at the level of image and symbol respectively, must share love and beauty to become completely one. The natural world is an object partner which exhibits human internal nature and external form in diverse ways. Hence, ideal human beings receive stimulation from the world of nature. Sensing their own internal nature and external form displayed through the creation, they feel immense joy. God also delights when he experiences the stimulation of his original internal nature and original external form from the universe. This is possible when it becomes his third object partner, the harmonious union of human beings and the natural world. Therefore, when human beings realize God's third blessing, the entire universe becomes yet another good object partner, giving joy to God. Had God's purpose of creation been realized in this way, an ideal world without even a trace of sin would have been established on earth. We call this world the kingdom of heaven on earth. When life in the kingdom of heaven on earth comes to a close, people are to enter the spirit world and naturally enjoy eternal life in the kingdom of heaven there. Based on the discussion thus far, we can understand that the kingdom of heaven resembles a person who has achieved individual perfection, taking after God's original internal nature and external form. In an individual, the mind's command is transmitted to the whole body through the central nervous system, causing the body to act with one purpose. Likewise, in the kingdom of heaven, God's direction will be conveyed to all his children through the true parents of humankind, guiding everyone to live as one. Section 4. Original Value. 4.1. The process and standard for the determination of original value. How is a being's original created value determined? The value of an entity may be determined by the relationship between its purpose of existence and the desire that a human being has for it. To be more precise, the value of an entity intended at its creation is not fixed as an inherent attribute. Rather, it is established through the mutual relationship between the purpose of the entity according to God's ideal of creation and people's original desire to treasure it and bring out its true worth. It finds its true value when it participates as an object partner in a God-centered four-position foundation by relating with a person through a give and take action and by their union becoming the third object partner to God. What sets the standard by which the original value of an entity is determined? Since its original value is determined when it participates in a four-position foundation, and since the center of this four-position foundation is God, it is God who sets the standard for its value. Since God is absolute, the original value of an object partner determined in relation to its standard set by God must also be absolute. Consider a rose. How is its original beauty determined? It is determined when the purpose for which God created the flower and the divinely given human desire to appreciate and bring out its beauty are fulfilled together. To put it another way, an ideal person feels the fulfillment of joy when his desire to pursue beauty is satisfied by the emotional stimulation that the flower gives him. At that moment, the flower manifests its original beauty. The flower's beauty becomes absolute when it achieves its inherent purpose, which is to give complete joy to its subject partner. The human desire to appreciate the beauty of the flower is an instance of the desire to feel aspects of one's own internal nature and external form through an object partner. The moment the flower's purpose for which it was created and the human desire to bring out its value are fulfilled, the subject partner and the object partner enter a state of harmonious oneness. An entity attains its true value when it and a human being, its subject partner, enter a state of harmonious oneness and form the third object partner to God in the four-position foundation. Through this process, the true values of all things are determined absolutely, based on the relationship with the absolute standard of value set by God. Until now, no object partner's value could become absolute. It has remained relative because its relationship with fallen people was not based on God's ideal of creation, but was based on satanic purpose and desire. 4.2. Original emotion, intellect and will, and original beauty, truth, and goodness. The human mind has three faculties: emotion, intellect, and will. The human body acts in response to the commands of the mind. When the body responds to the mind's emotion, intellect, and will, its action pursue the values of beauty, truth, and goodness respectively. God is the subject partner to the human mind. Hence, he is also the subject partner to human emotion, intellect, and will. Desiring to realize his original value, a person responds to the perfect emotion, perfect intellect, and perfect will of God through his mind and acts accordingly through his body. Thus, he manifests the value of original beauty, original truth, and original goodness. 3. Love and beauty, good and evil, righteousness and unrighteousness. 4.3.1. Love and beauty. When two entities, discrete manifestations of God's dual characteristics, form a common base and seek to unite as the third object partner to God and establish a four-position foundation, they will engage in give and take action. In accomplishing this, the emotional force that the subject partner gives to the object partner is called love, and the emotional force that the object partner returns to the subject partner is called beauty. The force of love is active, and the stimulation of beauty is passive. In the relationship between God and human beings, God gives love as the subject partner, and human beings return beauty as object partners. In the relationship between a man and a woman, the man is the subject partner, love, while the woman is the object partner, returning beauty. In the universe, people are the subject partners who give love to the natural world, and the natural world returns beauty as an object partner. However, when the subject partner and object partner become completely one in harmony, love is found within beauty and beauty is found within love. This is because when a subject partner and object partner become one in a circular movement, the subject partner sometimes acts as an object partner and the object partner sometimes acts as a subject partner. In interpersonal relationships, the beauty that a subordinate returns in response to the love of a superior is called loyalty. The beauty that children return in response to the love of their parents is called filial piety. The beauty that a wife returns in response to the love of her husband is called fidelity. The purpose of love and beauty is to enable two wholesome beings springing forth from God to establish the four-position foundation and realize the purpose of creation. By sharing love and beauty with each other, they join in harmonious oneness, becoming the third object partner to God. Next, let us investigate the nature of God's love. Had Adam and Eve attained perfection, each becoming a substantial object partner to God resembling one of his dual characteristics, they would have joined as husband and wife and raised children in a godly family. In so doing, they would have experienced three kinds of original love with their three object partners: parental love, conjugal love, and children's love. The love of the first object partner, the love of the second object partner, and the love of the third object partner. Only then would they complete the three object purpose and form the four-position foundation. This would be the fulfillment of their purpose of creation. God's love is the subject to the various kinds of love flowing through the four-position foundation. Therefore, God's love is manifested through the various loves of the three object partners. God's love is the underlying force which breathes life into the four-position foundation. Accordingly, the four-position foundation is the vessel of perfect beauty through which we can receive and enjoy the fullness of God's love. It is also the home of perfect joy and the wellspring of goodness. Upon this ground, the purpose of creation is complete. 4.3.2 Good and Evil. An act or the result of an act is considered good when it fulfills God's purpose of creation. This takes place when a subject partner and object partner unite through the harmonious and spirited give and take of love and beauty, becoming the third object partner to God, and form the four-position foundation. On the other hand, an act or its result is called evil when it violates God's purpose of creation by forming a four-position foundation under the dominion of Satan. For example, when an individual realizes God's first blessing and fulfills his true purpose, the actions to this end are good and the individual is good. These actions involve the free-flowing give and take of love and beauty between the mind and the body so that they unite in the way of God and form the individual four-position foundation. When Adam and Eve achieve the second blessing by building a family that realizes God's purpose, their action to this end are good and the family they form is good. These actions include joining as a couple in the way of God through the harmonious and passionate sharing of love and beauty, rearing and raising children, and thus establishing the family four-position foundation. Moreover, when a perfect individual achieves the third blessing, the action to this end are good, and all things that he nurtures are good. By relating with the natural world as his second self, and by becoming complete one with it, a union is formed which becomes the third object partner to God, thus constructing the four-position foundation of dominion. Conversely, when a person forms a four-position foundation under the bondage of Satan and realizes a purpose contrary to God's three blessings, this act or its result is called evil. 4.3.3 Righteousness and Unrighteousness. Righteousness refers to that quality in a person which leads him to pursue goodness and further its purpose. Unrighteousness refers to that quality in a person which leads him to pursue evil and further its satanic purposes. A righteous life is absolutely necessary for the attainment of goodness.